Welcome to Techlora Academy. This is lesson 5 of our ScratchJr course. Today we are creating a fun educational project called Learn Counting with Apples. In this activity, we will count apples together. When we tap on an apple, it disappears and helps us count the numbers. This helps students practice counting while learning basic coding ideas like events and messages. ScratchJr is a great way to contribute learning and creativity. Let's start. We will look into the details of this project also. As you can see the output on the screen, when we tap on the apples, the numbers come here and the apples go down in a row. This way students can relate the amount and quantity with numbers. We will start our project by going into the ScratchJr app on the tablets. We will go through step by step on how to make this project. First, we will select the characters we want to be here. Now we want apples to be here, so we will select the apple we want. We will select the apple character, but before we go to the apple, we will select from a starting screen. A student is here because he's counting. We are giving him the appropriate size we want him to be. I want him this size. Now I am giving him a position where I want him to stand. Also with my character I want to add some sounds. If he wants to say something, I will add a pop screen here. Whenever character says something, we have to move it a little bit so the viewer can focus his eyes and he would know this character is going to say something. So we give him some basic movements. In order to repeat the same movement, I will use the repeat block. Now my character will move a little bit left and right 2 times before he starts saying something, so the user would know this character is going to say something, so they focus on the character. Now my character would say, let's count apples together. This way we will count the apples together and students will learn. We will use the typing option for this. We can also add some emojis when some talking appears on the screen. I am adding some apple pictures here. We want this to be like a storytelling thing, so that's why we are starting with one screen with some introduction so user would know what we are going to do. Now we can do next screen. At end where the boy comes here, I will add the button, the block that makes it go to the next screen, screen number 2. For this project, we will be using 2 screens. Maximum number of screens that users can add is 4. Now, as we can see, the character is saying let's count apples, then waiting, then making it go to the next screen. Now we are on our main screen where we are going to make this educational game. First of all, I want to select the characters that I want to be here. For the background, I am selecting a simple plain background. I do not want anything fancy, any drawing at the background, because I want the student and the player to be focusing on what is on the screen and not what the background, because we are not relating this with the background. We are only focusing on the number of apples we have here and the numbers we have here. I am going to select apples for counting because I will have different apples and I do not want to confuse in their programming. If all of them look similar, then I would have a difficult time in figuring out which apple has which block of codes. So I will select different apples and I will give different color to each apple, so it's easy for me to figure out this way. Now I am selecting my apple number 2. I will select the paint bucket option to give a different color to this apple. We have the option of changing outline and fill color both for the apples. I'm only changing their outline and their filling color, but you can also choose to change their outline. Now I'm selecting my apple number 3. There. Apple number 3 will have light green color. I'm giving them natural colors of red, yellow, green, the colors that apples have. Students can go with their own creativity, with their own characters, with their own colors they want to have for the characters. I'm selecting my apple number 4. Apple number 4 will also have a shade of green color. I am giving them different colors just so that when I will click on an apple, I would know which apple are we programming for. Now I will select my apple number 5. I will color this apple dark red. It's a different shade of red than one that we had for apple number 1. Besides apples, we need some other characters. Here I'm fixing my background. Background should be like a full color. I want to, we can choose, give it any color whichever we want to. I'm giving it a light shade so the contents are more prominent on the screen. What we want next in our project is the characters we want to add. The other characters we want to add are the numbers. I'm also checking the position of this apple and I'm adjusting their size. I'm adding grid. Grid is always very helpful, especially when we are adjusting position. As you can see, this program is all about the right position for the right character to be at. From x-axis I'm selecting 8, from y-axis I'm selecting 11, from x-axis I'm selecting 11, from y-axis I'm selecting 8. Now I want all my apples to have the same size and all my apples to be at the same place. I do not want everyone to appear at the same time. I want them to come here at their right turn and at the right time. But all the apples and all the numbers have to start exactly from the middle. And to give them the right position, it's very important to look into the grid and the numbers of the grid. Now I am giving the same position to every apple, as one apple is behind the other apple, so you cannot see when I am changing their size, and of course if they are more bigger in size they will appear from the back of first apple, but all of these are at the same size. Now I am separating them so you can actually see. For the last apple, when I will be adjusting its size and color, you can actually see them properly. It's very important that all the apples have the same size and all the apples have the same color also. Now for my light red apple, I'm making it the same size as other apples. They will start from the middle, so I'm giving them their starting position again, and I will also tell them all of them have always to start from their home place. So whichever first position we give to our apples, they stay at their home place and they start from there. Now I'm putting back all the apples at their places. We have to check the numbers from the grid. From the left it's 8, from the bottom it's 11. All of the apples are at this position. Grid numbers are very important. They help in counting, they help in learning position, they help in addition and subtraction. Students learn so many important concepts from the grid numbers. All my apples are at the place where I want them to be. I'm checking the size of every apple, whether they are the right size or no. So before I give them any position, I would know the apples are here and they have to be placed at this position. I'm putting them all back at their proper position and place. And I'm also adjusting them according to their sequence. Which apple I want to come first will be at the top layer, whichever apple I want the second will be at second layer, whichever I want to be at the last will be at the last layer. As you can see, I'm layering all the characters, so they're at their position and they come according to their turn. It's very important to give them the right number and the right order in which we want them to be here. I am taking 5 apples for starters, as it's a starting project, so students will be learning basic 5 numbers, but they will be learning so many other things here, like position and size and placement and colors, and then the programming, the sequence, how events are going to happen, how they're going to come one by one, and timing is very important. Students are also going to learn timing here, that one apple has to wait before the other apple's turn comes here, and then the numbers will have to appear the same sequence as the apples are appearing at time. And another important thing I have to do is I need numbers. For numbers, we will go to the drawing option. I will select the thick line and I will give it any desired color, whichever color we want it to be. As you can see, this also has autocorrect option. When we draw something, if the lines are a little bit not straight, if the lines are a little bit wavy, then it gives them a proper shape. Now my numbers should be at the same position as the apples. You can see from the side of grids also. I did number 1. Now for number 2, I'm also going to go for some bright colors and go for the most thickest width here. Now the second number is number 2. I selected blue color for this number. It's also at the same position. One important thing to note is everything, all the apples, 5 apples and all the 5 numbers are going to start from the basic starting position. And they have to be here in the middle. Now I am selecting the third number, number 3. Now we will go to our next number. Next number I want to be here is number 4. I will select a bright color, as bright colors are attention seeking and they look prominent on the screen. Number 4 is here. Now I want to draw number 5. For number 5 I will select another different bright color. It will be a thick line because I want this to be prominent on the screen. Important thing is all the numbers and all the apples are at the same position. All of them have to be at the same position, and another important thing is no number or no apple should be overlapping. None of them should be appearing at the same time. They have to wait for their proper turn and then they have to come here. This is the main sequence making that we are doing here. My first apple will be the dark red apple. If this is tapped, it has to start at its starting position. Then I have to give it certain number of steps, so it goes down and it goes to the left. As positioning is very important here, one important thing is that every apple and every number has to come at their right turn and at the right time. No one should be overlapping. Next is that they should be going at their proper position. So counting the grid and taking them to the right position is important. Now if tapped on the apple, it has to go to its home, then go 5 steps down, then go 5 steps left, and then send a message. Another important thing is it is the first apple, so we want to give some instructions here so user would know how to start playing the game. First apple will say tap me to start counting. Now when this apple goes to its position, then it will send a message. Here we have option of sending multiple messages. So we will select the first option, that is the orange envelope. Closing envelope means sending a message and opening envelope means receiving a message. So once the apple number 1 is at its position, then the number which has to appear in accordance with apple number 1 would know that apple number 1 is done. Now I have to come on the screen. Apple number 1 is going to be there from the start. For all other apples and all other numbers, we have to tell them to hide first and only appear when it's their turn to come on the screen. Number 1 will receive message from the apple number 1. The first apple had sent orange in closing envelope. Orange opening envelope means it will receive the message from the orange closing envelope. Now as the green flag is clicked, green flag clicked also means as the screen is starting, as this screen is in second sequence from the first sequence. So green flag clicked means when this screen starts. When this screen starts, number 1 will be hiding, it will not be showing. It will only start showing once the apple sends it a message to show. Once the apple goes to its position and apple settles down there, then it sends a message to number 1. And as soon as number 1 receives the envelope, it has to start appearing and then start moving to its position. I am running the program so you can check. After applying every set of blocks, we will run the program by clicking on the green flag, and then the program will run and we would know if it's working before going to the next step. Apple 1 appears, goes to home, then goes to a certain position. And apple 1 and number 1 both are going to their positions. Once they are done, now we will go to second apple. Second apple is my green apple. I have put them in the right sequence. As you have checked the layering in the start, I have put them in the layers according to their number at which they have to be here. The block which was giving them their size was only to be used once and will not be a part of our program. So we'll take that block back. The second apple, green apple, has to do 2 things. It has to hide, but once it is tapped, it has to start going to its position. And it has to receive a message that is coming from the first apple, because then it has to start hiding for a certain amount of time. It has to keep on waiting. As soon as it receives the envelope, it will keep waiting. I am putting 10 number in the waiting clock and then I am repeating these instructions. So it has to wait the right amount of time. When we are making this project, we have to check hit and trial method, put different numbers of waiting for here, and whichever works according to your program, you have to select that number. My clock is on number 10 and it will repeat this 4 times. Once it has waited for the time until number 1 reaches its position, then the green apple will show. Otherwise, when the green flag is clicked, it will be at its home position, but it will be hiding there. It will not be prominent on the screen. And it will, once it appears on the screen, it is waiting for itself to be tapped, and when the green apple is tapped, then it will start moving to its certain position. It will show once it's done waiting for certain amount of time, but it will not start moving as soon as it shows. It will wait for the user to tap on the apple, then it goes down 5 steps and goes left 4 steps, and once it's settled at its position, then it will send a new envelope, which is the red envelope. Now from second apple, number 2 has to receive the envelope. This is a sequencing of receiving the message, waiting for your turn, then appearing, then going to your position, and then sending a message. As soon as number 2 gets the message from the apple 2, and it will start doing its work, but whenever the screen starts, it has to hide. It only has to show once it has received the message. When it receives the message, the number 2, it will show, and once it shows, it has to go to its home position. Home position is important because the game can be played multiple times, so every time the number is always at its home position. Then it goes up 4 steps, it shows, goes to home position, then starts moving, going up 4 steps, going right 6 steps, and then turning left 1 step to settle down and not to appear as a mirror image, to appear as in its proper shape. When I'm done doing one instruction, I always check by clicking on the green flag to see if it works before I go to my set number 3. So it's always like making the program, then checking and running and checking the part of program that is done before going to the next program, so we can be confirmed about our desired results before moving to apple number 3. Now I have checked my second apple and number 2 are going to the right position, and they're also moving for the right amount of time, and they're appearing one by one, not overlapping anyone else, and then the program is working according to the time criteria and as the situation I want this to be. Now as I can see, my first apple and second apple and number 1 and number 2 are working according to my requirement. Now I am going towards my third apple. Third apple is my light green apple. I have given them natural shades like red, yellow, green, so they look like natural apples. My light yellow apple will start working once I tap on it, but in order for it to show on the screen, to appear on the screen, it has to wait. Whenever the green flag is clicked, the apple must be at its home position. This is when a game is played multiple times, and the apple must be hiding. And the second important thing is that when apple receives the message from the previous apple, not from the previous number, from the previous apple, we have to make sure. Whenever it receives message from the previous apple, it has to wait, then it has to show. It's very important to connect one apple to the next apple and one number to its apple. So we are connecting apples to apples and numbers to apples. The connection is very important. The sequence is very important. Apple will wait when it receives the message, and then wait to get message from the previous apple, then send message to the next number and to the next apple both. It's very important to send an envelope, and that envelope should be received at 2 places, to the next apple and to the next number also. Now we will check. The light green apple has to coordinate with the number 3 because it is third apple, so number 3 will appear with this. Number 3 will receive the envelope that the third apple has sent to it, the yellow envelope. It will always hide. All of the apples and all of the numbers will always hide once the green flag is clicked. Only the red apple will show in the start, the first apple. It always hides when green flag is clicked, and it shows after waiting certain amount of time when it receives the envelope from the previous apple, and then it goes to its home position. And after going to its home position, it has to move to a certain position at the top. As number 3 is very close to the middle, so it does not have to go much to left or right. I will click on green flag to see if my program is working. 3 is at the position where I want it to be. Third apple is at the position where I want this to be. 3, if I want it to go a little bit to the left, I will put 2 steps to the left, but then I do not want this to be giving a mirror image or a flipped image, so I'm asking it to come to right again. It has to go to the home position before it shows. Even when a number or an apple is hiding, it should be at its home position. Now I'm correcting this program. I will check and run this program, and then I will go to my next apple. Before going to number 3 step, we have to make sure that all our previous steps are working fine. For this, we have to hit and run, and then hit and run multiple times, then correct wherever we need corrections. We can correct their sequences also. I am checking all my apples and I am checking their programs. Before going to 4th step, we have to make sure all 3 steps are working fine and properly, so that if there is any correction required, we can change their sequences, we can change the envelopes they are sending, and we have to make sure they are working the right way. All of these have to hide in the start, and they only have to come here once they are ready to show, so nothing is overlapping and nothing is going at the wrong position. Now I've tapped on green flag to see my number 3. As number 3 is going to a different position, I have to ask it to be at the home position as soon as the program is started. So whenever it receives a message, it has to be at its home position before it starts working. So it does not have to be at home position only when green flag is clicked. All of these have to be at the home position whenever they receive a message from the sequence. So when the program will be going in the sequence, everyone will start from the starting position. Player can play the same game multiple times. Once I'm sure that my 3rd apple and number 3 are at the right position, I can go to my apple number 4. Apple number 4 is also a shade of green apple. Only the shades are different, so I can differentiate from them. Once it is tapped, it has to go to a certain position. Few steps to the left and few steps down. Few steps to the right and few steps down. Then it's sending a different color of envelope. It is sending green envelope now. Apple will send the green envelope, and the number 4 will receive the green envelope. Now it has to, before appearing on the screen, it has to receive the yellow envelope from 3rd apple. As I told you, Apple will send one message, and that one message will be received by a number and by the next apple. So every apple is receiving a message and sending a message, while numbers are only receiving the messages. Once they have waited the right amount of time, they will appear on the screen, and once they are ready to come on the screen, then user will be able to tap on them. Whenever the program starts, all the apples will be hiding, and whenever they are tapped before they show on the screen, they have to be at their home position. So every time all the apples will be at their home position. You can run and play this program multiple times. Maybe you will find some other changes that you would want to make to the program, as there is always place for improvement and for more learning. Now number 4 will get an envelope from the 4th apple, which was the green envelope. As soon as it receives the envelope, it has to go its starting position to the home position, and then it has to show, and then it has to wait for a certain amount of time, and we also have to tell it to hide when it receives the green flag. Once it's done hiding, it will show. Now my program for number 4 is being done here. 4 will go up, 4 will go right, then 4 will go a little bit more up to get to its starting position. So it's not overlapping, it's not covering any other number or any other apple. And whenever the green flag is clicked, all the numbers and all the apples besides only the 1st apple have to hide. So 4 will also be hiding. 4 will only appear once it receives the message from the apple number 4 to appear on the screen. I will check my program. Testing and running is the main thing we have to do. Now I will run and check my program whether all the numbers till number 4 and all the apples till 5th apple are working fine. At the end, I will also show you separate programs for every apple and every number. So maybe you can take screenshots if you want to, or you can save them in your computer before you start working on your project. You can save them in your tablet also. You can take screenshots of every program and you can save them in your computer. Now I will check for my 4th apple. 4th apple is a little bit overlapping with the yellow 3rd apple, so I will program for its steps to be a little bit more and then I will see if tapping on them works. Sometimes there can be errors. Now my fourth is at the right position where I want it to be, and number 4 is also at the right position. Before going to fifth apple and number 5, we have to make sure that they are at the right positions and at the right numbers. Now the apple and the green apple is at the right position, and the number 4 is also at the right position where I want them to be. I have made little adjustments in their positions also. In this program I am doing few steps and then I am correcting them also. So at the end you can see I will give you a review of all the apples and their numbers and the programs again, so you can see the final end results also. Watch this video till end so you will learn all the basic steps and you will learn how this works. You do not only have to check the sequence of the blocks, you also have to understand what's the logic behind the blocks, how they are working in sequence one by one, and how they are making this project. Now I'm going to go to my fifth apple and my fifth number. Let's see and program for this. Now I'm going to go to my fifth apple. Fifth apple is a light red apple and fifth number is in orange color here, as we can see. When tapped on the fifth apple, it has to go to its home position, and when it's at its home position, then it has to start moving. It has to go some steps right and then come down according to its position. Right will be 8 steps, coming down will be 5 steps. When you will be doing this, you can also count the numbers from your grid. You can count the boxes to make them go to the right position. If you want to make any adjustments, if you want to change after running this, you would know where is it going to land, and then you can change the numbers. Now this is the position I want it to be, 7 steps to right and then few steps down. It's going to send a different colored envelope, so number 5 would know it has to appear. But red apple is also getting envelope from fourth apple, which was green apple. It has sent the green envelope. Once the fourth apple sends the envelope, fifth apple has to know now I have to start waiting. It does not start waiting when you click the green flag. It starts waiting when the previous apple tells it to start waiting. So waiting starts with the previous apple's connection, and then when it's done waiting, it has to appear on the screen. So with the green flag, the apples are not going to come because user can take pauses between letting few new numbers come on the screen. So it only starts showing when it gets a message from the previous apple. So we are not adding the wait block with the green flag block, we are adding the wait block in connection to the previous apple's block. For the number 5, it will get envelope from fifth apple. Now it will open the envelope. Opening the envelope means receiving the message. Once it has received a message from its apple that you have to show, then it will show. And after it shows, it still has to wait for some time, and then in start it has to go to its starting position. Even before showing, it always has to make sure it's at the home position. It has to wait few seconds, then it has to start moving to its position where you want it to be. 7 steps to the right and 5 steps up. Now it's at the position where we wanted it to be. As you can see, now I will go through a review of all the apples here. I will check their position. I want the number 4 to be at a little bit down. It was too much up high. And also I want the 5 number to be in the same line. Now I am checking and reviewing my instructions if they are at the right position where I wanted them to be. You can also change their sizes, change their positions according to your requirement. I will run the whole program and see if it works. I am starting from a starting position because I want this to be having a story effect. The boy sees let's count apple together, and now I am on my home screen. When I click the home button, everything has to hide. If number 5 is not hiding, I have to make sure when I click the green flag, it is hiding. Now it is hiding, I am very sure. I will go to my starting screen again and I have to check if it's working or no. Red apple goes to its starting position. Number 1 goes to its starting position. Now second apple appears here. Tap on the second apple. It goes to its position, and then number 2 appears and goes to its position. Now third apple is here on the screen. Tap on apple 3 and number 3 comes here going to its position. Now fourth apple is here. Tap on 4. It goes to the position, and number 4 also comes and goes to the fourth position. Now fifth apple will appear here, but it will wait for itself to be tapped. Once it's tapped, number 5 will appear on the screen and will go in line with number 4. As you can see, all the apples are in a line and all the numbers are in a line. This is a very educational game. Students are going to learn lots of things from here: programming, numbers, positioning, waiting time, arranging everything in sequence, giving the right size, giving the right order to the numbers and stuff. This is an educational game, very good for the students. As I told you, at the end I will tap on every apple separately so you can see the whole final set of blocks that works for this program, and you can take screenshots from here also for your later use. I will be going to all apples one by one. You can check their programs, copy it, save it in your computer, and I will tap on the next apple. Now you can also see its program. Now I will go to all the numbers. You can see the final program that works for these numbers, their positions, their alignments, their orders. Number 1 has this program. Number 2 is this final set of programs which work for the number 2. Now on number 3, after this, number 4's program is here. You can see the final set of blocks that works for the program, and now number 5's set of blocks is here. I just got everything on the screen at end so you can see the sequences and you would know which works for you. I hope you like my program. Go to next lesson for your next program. Thanks. Please like and subscribe.